everyone. Welcome back to Daily Easy English Talk. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jack. Thanks for joining us.
Today, we're getting into something we all face, those communication moments where a simple yes or no just doesn't feel right or isn't even possible. We're looking at how to say maybe, but, effectively, clearly, politely.
Right. Because let's face it, a really vague maybe can cause problems. Confusion, people expecting things that won't happen, maybe even frustration.
Totally.
So the idea today is to give you some really specific phrases. Think of them as tools. Each one's for a slightly different kind of maybe, a different reason for not saying yes or no right away.
Yeah. Tools beyond just kind of shrugging or mumbling maybe.
Yeah.
It's about picking the right way to say it to match what's actually going on. So let's jump in. What about when you've been asked something and you genuinely just haven't decided, or you need a moment to figure it out yourself?
Okay, yeah. For that kind of genuine, internal undecidedness, I'm not sure yet, is perfect. It's honest, direct.
Okay.
It tells the other person exactly where you stand, which is you don't have the answer yet. Stops them guessing or, pushing you.
Yeah. Right, just plain honesty. And you also mentioned, I'll have to think about it. How's that different?
Well, I'll have to think about it. Adds a bit more, doesn't it? It signals you're taking their request seriously. It needs actual thought. So it politely gets you the time you need, but it doesn't dismiss them. Shows respect, really, while also saying, hey, I need space to process this.
Got it. So one's about your current state, not sure. The other is about the process needed thinking about it. Makes sense. Okay, but what if your answer isn't really about you thinking? What if it hinges on something totally outside your control, like external stuff?
That is exactly where it depends comes in. It's so useful.
Wait, so useful.
Because it immediately changes the focus. It's not about your decision-making process anymore. It's about outside conditions. You're saying, look, the answer relies on something else.
And you probably need to say what that something else is.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah.
Briefly. It depends on if my supervisor approves it, or it depends on what the weather does. It gives that crucial context that a plain maybe just totally misses.
So it makes the maybe actually informative, tells them what needs to happen for a yes or no, avoids them thinking you're just being vague on purpose.
Precisely.
All right. What about a situation where you're maybe not really leaning towards yes or no? You just want to acknowledge something could happen without committing at all.
Yeah, for keeping things open but staying really non-committal. Possibly, or that's possible, are your go-tos.
Possibly? Okay.
These are pretty neutral. They just state, yep, that scenario is technically within the realm of reality. But crucially, they don't tie you to it. You're not saying you'll do it or even want it to happen.
So it's like observing a potential outcome without implying you're involved in making it happen. Purely potential.
Exactly. It's observational.
Okay, last one. What if you know you can give an answer, just not right now? You need to check your calendar or find a file or talk to someone first.
Then the best one is probably, let me get back to you.
Okay.
And this is more than just delaying. It has this implied promise in it, right? A promise you'll follow up.
Right. The follow-up piece seems key.
It is. It's perfect when you know a definite answer will come, but you need to do something first. Check that calendar, find that info. It manages expectations, tells them the conversation isn't dead, just paused, and importantly, you'll be the one to restart it with the answer.
So it turns what could feel like a brush off into more of a commitment to actually respond later.
Exactly. That maintains trust, closes the communication loop eventually.
So quick recap. We've got, I'm not sure yet, or I'll have to think about it, for when it's internal. It depends for when it's external factors.
Right.
Possibly, or that's possible for just acknowledging potential without commitment.
Yep.
And let me get back to when you need time or info, but promise an answer.
And having these different options, it just allows for so much more precision.
Yeah.
You're not just being polite, although that's good too. You're actually giving useful information about why there's no firm answer yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it really reduces that ambiguity and potential for, like you said, frustration that just a plain old maybe can cause.
It shows how much info we actually leave out with a simple maybe. Okay, so those are the 5 phrases. Really useful toolkit, but, just listing them isn't quite enough, is it?
No, not really. Seeing them used in actual situations, that really helps cement them in your mind.
Definitely. It's one thing to know the phrase, another to actually feel confident using it. So let's try some little role plays.
Sounds good. Let's demonstrate these in action. Where should we start?
Okay, first up, Just a casual chat at the office. Are you free to lead the client meeting next Friday?
I'm not sure yet. I need to check if my project deadline changes.
Okay, so right there, I'm not sure yet. Why is that effective in this specific scenario?
Well, it works because the reason for not knowing is right there, isn't it? It's clear. It's external, that potential deadline shift.
Right, not just a vague do know.
Exactly. They're not just saying, I don't know, which, yeah, could sound a bit hesitant or like they haven't thought about it. They state their uncertainty and immediately give the specific thing that needs to clear up first.
Manages expectations.
Totally. It feels transparent. It respects the question, but politely explains why they can't commit right now.
Yeah, gives a solid reason for the holdup.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. A social invite. We're going to a concert Saturday night. Want to come?
That sounds fun. It depends on whether my cousin is visiting that day. Okay, so here the key phrase was, it depends.
And the strength of using it depends here
Yeah.
is what? It puts the decision on that external factor, right? The cousin.
Precisely. It's not about whether they want to go. They actually said, that sounds fun.
Yeah, they showed interest.
Right. The uncertainty is purely from this outside thing, the cousin's visit. So saying it depends on frames it perfectly. It tells the person inviting them exactly what needs to happen or not happen for them to say yes.
Much clearer than just, maybe I can go. Leaves less guesswork.
Way less guesswork. It shifts the focus from their feelings to the actual condition. Makes total sense.
It does. Okay, third example. Hashing out a group decision. Should we try that new Thai place tonight?
Possibly. Let me check if it's okay with Sarah, too. All right, this one had possibly, but then it was followed up.
Yeah, possibly. Let me check. So possibly
Yeah.
is doing that neutral acknowledgement thing you mentioned.
Exactly. Keeps the idea alive without locking anything in.
Right.
And the clever bit here is combining possibly with, let me check, because it shows they're open to it, possibly, but they also recognize, hey, it's not just my call.
Brings in the group element.
Yes. Immediately flags that others need to be looped in, consulted. It's really collaborative, very polite, shows respect for the group dynamic. It's like saying, cool idea, it's an option, but let's see what the others think.
Yeah, that handles the group aspect really smoothly.
Okay.
Okay, fourth one.
Hmm.
A bit more formal, a business discussion. Would you consider investing in our project?
I'll have to think about it. Can I get back to you by Monday? Okay, so the response used, I'll have to think about it, but crucially, paired it with a specific follow-up.
Right. And I'll have to think about it. Feels like the right weight for something serious, like an investment. Buys that thinking time.
Absolutely. In a business setting, especially with something significant, a quick maybe just doesn't cut it. It can sound unprofessional, maybe even dismissive.
True.
I'll have to think about it. Signals you're taking it seriously, giving it proper consideration, and then adding, can I get back to you by Monday? That's vital.
Gives a deadline.
Gives a clear timeline, manages expectations perfectly, shows you're reliable even while the decision is pending. You're committing to the process and a deadline for the answer, even if the answer isn't yes yet.
Shows professionalism, definitely. Respects the seriousness. Okay, last example of casual chat about future plans. Do you think you'll go to the reunion next month?
Let me get back to you. It depends on my work schedule. So this time it was, let me get back to you, but again, with an explanation tacked on.
And let me get back to you is the one for when you can't decide now, need to follow up.
Yes, and linking it directly to, it depends on my work schedule, adds that essential clarity. You know, for stuff planned way ahead, like a reunion, people often just don't know their schedules yet.
Right. Totally normal.
So saying, let me get back to you is a polite way to defer, but it promises a response once they have the info they need, the work schedule. It avoids that vague feeling by giving a concrete reason for the delay and assuring the other person you will give them an answer eventually.
It's a commitment to communicate later.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Promises the future answer, explains the current situation. You know, these examples really drive home how much better these phrases are than just maybe.
So much more informative, right?
Yeah.
And polite. They give context. They manage expectations. That's just key for good communication.
Okay, so the sources also give us a few practice scenarios, kind of put us in the hot seat, to think about how we might use these phrases.
Yeah, let's try them. We'll set up the situation, and maybe you listening can think about which phrase feels right, how you'd actually say it.
Sounds good. Okay, first situation. Your friend invites you on a trip next month. You want to go, but you're genuinely not sure if you can get the time off work.
Okay, how could you respond using one of our phrases? What feels natural there?
Well, oh, wow, that sounds amazing. I'm not sure yet, though. I need to check with my boss about time off.
Yeah, that works perfectly. I'm not sure yet nails the genuine uncertainty because of that external factor getting time off.
And explaining why straight away.
Exactly. Makes the response totally clear, totally valid. You've acknowledged the invite, shown interest implicitly, and stated the action needed to get to a decision.
Okay, situation 2. Your coworker asks if you're free for a quick chat about a project later today. You are absolutely swamped, but there might be a small window opening up.
Right. Tricky one. What's a polite way to handle that if you can't commit to a specific time right this second?
Okay, a good option could be, possibly. Let me get back to you in about an hour. I just need to see how quickly I can clear these emails first.
Oh, I like that. Let me get back to you. Defers it. But adding in about an hour gives a really specific short time frame for the follow-up.
Shows you're not just putting them off indefinitely.
Right. Shows you're prioritizing it even though you're busy. And explaining why you need that hour clearing emails adds that transparency, manages their expectations about your current load. Very effective.
Cool. Okay, third and final practice scenario. Your club leader asks if you'd be willing to help organize the next big event. It actually sounds quite interesting, but you really need to check your other commitments before saying yes.
How could you phrase that respectfully, acknowledging the interest but needing time?
That does sound interesting. Fair. I'll have to think about it, actually. Can I look at my schedule for the next couple of months and let you know?
Perfect. I'll have to think about it. Gives it the serious consideration it deserves.
Signals it's not a small ask.
Exactly. And then adding the reason needing to check the schedule explains why you need time. It frames it as a practical step, not just reluctance.
And adding that does sound interesting helps too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Conveys that initial positive feeling even while you're hitting pause on the actual commitment. Really well-rounded response.
You know, these practice runs really highlight something.
Yeah.
Often, combining the core phrase with just a brief explanation makes the whole thing even stronger.
Absolutely. It adds that layer of context. So having these different ways to politely signal uncertainty or non-commitment, it's just such a valuable skill in your communication toolbox.
Yeah, it really moves you beyond a simple, maybe unhelpful maybe. You end up providing clarity, managing expectations better.
And maintaining good relationships, whether it's personal stuff or work stuff. You're being polite, yes, but also genuinely informative.
You're giving the other person useful info about why you can't say yes or no right this minute instead of just, leaving them guessing.
Exactly. No one likes being left guessing.
So that's our deep dive into mastering the polite maybe. We've looked at the key phrases, seen them work in dialogues, and thought about how to apply them ourselves.
Yeah, hopefully this gives everyone listening a bit more confidence, a more robust toolkit for handling those uncertain moments in conversations.
I think it really does. And speaking of applying things, will you try using some of these phrases in your conversations this week?
Possibly. Let me think about it.
Nicely played. Definitely something for all of us to think about.
And hey, if you found this deep dive helpful today, please do subscribe to Daily Easy English Talk.
That way you don't miss any of our future chats and language tips.
We really hope this was useful for you.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.